Love this guy. Look, I'm almost as tall as him. When I first met Josh, Terry's son, he was just a little guy, probably about 6 or 7 years old. And he looked the same, but he was small. And over the years, it's been a real joy to get to know Josh and Carla and their 3 amazing daughters. But today, his story is found in our theme today, which is every scar tells a story. So why don't you take us back to that night and share a little bit about that night and what happened.
Well, we were going to have our first movie date night that we haven't had for quite a while. As Barry said, we have a 19-month-old, and we had just had another 3-week-old daughter. We have our 12-year-old Karina, and then 19-month children, and Kaylee, the newest one. And we've been pretty busy around the house, so we hadn't had much time out, and we just decided to have a movie night. We were just heading, like they say, usually within 3 to 5 miles of the house. It really did. We didn't even have our seatbelts on yet. We hadn't put on the belts, and we were just coming down the backside of Scripps Ranch right before the lake, and I was going to give my wife a little ride, and just not thinking about it. Just definitely was speeding, put my foot into it a little bit, and wanted to show her just a little bit of the car had, and she hadn't really been in it too much, and just definitely being irresponsible. But got going down the road way too fast. The road is maybe 35 or 45. I would have to admit we were probably doing that. I mean, it was just way overboard, and we hit a dip in the road, and I lost control. And as I lost control, we floated. The car had so much rear end horsepower and torque, it lifted, and the car came out from under me and drifted to the left, which was pulling me into oncoming traffic. There just happened to be, I remember clearly, a white minivan that you could see. It almost came slow-mo, but I could tell it was full of kids and driver and passengers in it. And as we veered, it's just a 2-lane road, Scripps Lake Drive. It's, I'm sorry, it's 2 lanes total, 1 in each direction. As it pulled, we were about to go into this car, and it was either hit them or jerk out of it and just overcavitate the other way. So I knew we were just going to be out of control at that speed of the car already floating, but I chose not to hit the other car coming. I just couldn't do it, and I just knew it. I looked at my wife as I was jerking the wheel, and I just pulled the wheel back to the right, and as we did, the car completely just pulled itself obviously into a spin clockwise. And as I remember that happening at that speed, I was clear as day. Everything kind of slowed down, tunnel vision, but I remember, and my wife says the same thing, we never closed our eyes, we saw everything clear as day. And as it rotated, we were going into the side of this, over a curve, into this embankment with trees that lines Scripps Lake Drive. And as it started sliding, before we even hit the curb, which blew my wheels completely off, almost 100 yards away from the car, that's off the axle, that's hard to hit. Or my back tire, the front tire bent under, the back tire was almost a block up on the corner of the street in front of us. I remember, before we even made impact, as we jerked, and I explained to the Barium people this on the hospital, the car actually inside, and you'll be able to see with some pictures that Barry's going to show you, it actually lit up. And it almost looked like it was like a path of energy, is the only way I can explain it, of like light that was almost like glistening or embering, glowing in between my door. It started on my door, and it came around me and went between the center and to my wife, because I remember as I cut, I looked at her and she looked at me. I saw a horrific look on her face because we knew we were going into the embankment with trees. And I just remember seeing the car light, like not headlight, like interior like a pad, if you could take a thick mattress of a king-size bed, that was in between us. That's what I saw. She saw the same thing, and it looked like it was glowing. It had energy coming off of it, and I saw it, and as we made impact with the curb, and it folded, which flipped us from just spinning on all fours up onto the side of the car. It took form. You could see, and I explained to my mom, I've never seen anything like it.
There was no airbags.
There was no airbags. This is a Fox body Mustang Race 86. Again, no CBS, no seatbelts. And it definitely was the Holy Spirit. And I would say 3 very, very strong powered angels in the car. You could see them take form. You couldn't see definite men or faces, but we had 3 other passengers in the car, for sure.
Josh, we have a description.
Yeah, we had 3 passengers in the car, and it was, what I could see was almost like, as this thick energy took form, I could see like a back and shoulders in front of me by my door.
Wow.
We could see one in the center, almost like bracing the center of the car, and then the other one completely around my wife. Almost like you could just see outlines. And as we hit the tree, I felt the impact, and we felt everything explode, the windows and the car push in. And my wife as well, not having a seatbelt on, somehow when it hit, we flipped on the side, and it completely ripped the door off to the front, which ripped the fender and bent the undercarriage and the wheeling on the front. And I'm wide open. I'm a pretty strong guy, but there's no way I can hold myself on a steering wheel at that speed after wrapping a tree and floating like now from here to this on an embankment, dragging. And all we could remember was glass and dirt and rocks, hearing it on my side. I mean, I'm wide open, and I could hear the ground and everything grinding right at my face. My wife said she could hear the same thing, but nothing was penetrating this wall at my shoulder. There wasn't but one scratch on the top of my eye, that no stitch, nothing needed. My wife had the same little thing on her, just a little light scrape, but the car, as we were on our side dragging on this embankment, and I'm talking over rocks, stubble, other broken tree stumps. We went over a sprinkler and a big gas line. I looked at it, you can see the car scrape over this big, thick, we dug out this gas line. We actually uncovered it from underneath the ground, and it was probably, we slid for what, 100 yards? I mean, we slid through, then you could just see trees knocked down, bushes and branches knocked down. And I never actually, how I didn't lose my arm or legs or a limb with the door gone, the whole backside smashed in. My wife, not at her belt, not coming over or ejecting, she actually said she felt herself spin and get lifted like she was going to go out the back window and then stop. Wow. Like an energy just grabbed her.
Can I say something really quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the things that was amazing to me when I looked at the vehicle, you can clearly see like the outside of the car is destroyed.
Uncle Barry said the same thing.
Like the line, you know, the rubber lining that
the
protects the water seal, perfectly intact. Everything inside the car, you can
where the
see,
seat is at?
Like it reminded me of like the shoreline.
Unencumbered.
You know how they always, you know, God stops the shore, right?
Tells
At
the waves
time,
to halt at the
to
shore.
stop there. That's what you see when you look inside the car. It's like perfect inside. It's like there was protection just sitting at the seat, just like, you know, half a centimeter away.
All around.
There's destruction.
Yeah,
and yet in the seat, you're safe, and it was just it's amazing.
Yeah, the other thing that Barry wanted me to point out is when, so I was, if you can actually look, the tree, if it would have hit here, I was done. A foot forward, but it hit right here. That whole area is where the tree wrapped and ripped the door. This door was all the way up here off, and this is all grounded, and we were sliding on that. So we were sliding,
Open.
and my arms, nothing ever came out.
How we did
When I got out of the car, I self-extracted because my adrenaline was up, and we landed upright in the path of traffic again. My first goal was to get my wife out of the car. I didn't know my spleen was blown into pieces. I didn't know my lung was collapsed. Where's the pressure? I just had adrenaline. I'm sure the Lord helped me get out and get her out because there was traffic coming towards us. I was standing when the first police officer arrived, in front of the paramedics and the fire engine. And when he walked up, because we were standing up to the side, he looked at this car sitting with everything ripped out, and he walked up to me and he said, "Excuse me, sir, have you seen the victims?" He thought they were ejected.
Wow.
And I looked at him and I said, "Officer, it's actually my wife and I, we were in the car." And he looked at me and he said, "Sir, this is a very serious matter."
Wow.
Totally thought I was kidding with him. "Are you really the one that was in this car?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I was in the car." "Sir, can you please lay down for me?" And I said, I knew the internal, my wife's like, "Are you okay, are you okay?" And I could feel stuff going wrong. And I thought if I laid down, I would pass out. I didn't want to pass. So I said, "Actually, officer, can I just stand till the ambulance gets here?" So I stood, and my wife was looking at me like she'd just seen angels, which she had. Really, literally. And, she said, "We're alive, we're actually alive." And I said, "Yeah, that was, did you see what I saw?" Is the first thing I said to her. And she said, "Yeah, the energy, the glowing, the white, and the people in the car." And I said, "Yeah, the people in the car. You saw that all three of them? There was three?" And she said, "Yeah, Daddy, there was three." And I said, "Were they braced around you and holding the car in the seat, holding us in?" And she said, "Yeah, they were holding us in." And I just said, "Thank you, Jesus." Unbelievable. We have a brand new daughter at home, and pretty incredible, and not a scratch besides the turtle. And you know, standing back and looking at that car as I walked away, I was just, you're just mesmerized by the power of the Lord.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when I said there was one in front of me, there was one. I saw that right across me, one racing almost like the front of the windshield, the center of the car, and then all around Carla on that side. You're talking no seatbelts. We came out of that, walked out. Besides the internal injuries, in fact, I have a GT little thing that sits behind the car that I wanted to show you guys. I left in the car, but it's actually the GT badge from the Mustang. And it is actually bowed and wrapped because it was stuck to the tree where it hit. It actually took my GT emblem, the big plastic rubber, and wrapped it like a half moon around the tree. We went back to take pictures for Uncle Barry, and I looked at it and I grabbed it, and I just was... Everyone that saw it said if the tree would have been a foot forward, is that you could kick a door in with your foot. I mean, if it would have came through the door, I would have been gone, absolutely. So the way the Lord placed it, for us to hit where it did, it just, that was the tire that was, and I kid you not, almost a football field away on the opposite side of the street up at the next block. That's how hard the impact was, sheared it right off the axle. But it's, the first thing I thought of was, it's really weird because so many times in life we've called, I know I have, called upon the Lord, and you ask Him for things, and you ask Him like for help, or to see you through something, or to give you something to work, to work a miracle in your life. And it seems like sometimes when we ask, He doesn't answer it. But it's really weird. I think back to a song that my dad used to play by Andre Crouch. It says, "He may not come when you call Him, but He's right on time." And He really is. I think of that because I had no time to call out to the Lord. I pray all the time for things, and they don't happen. Yet He's so powerful. In a millisecond, as we were getting ready, before we even hit the curb, the car was lit up with power. In a second, I mean, you're talking, He sent angels down that fast, and there was no prayer, there was no time, there was no calling, but He definitely knows what He's doing and when He's doing it and why He's doing it. So it just amazed me, the power of the Lord, that He's that perfect, He's that fast, He's that quick. Like that song says, He may not come when you call Him, but He's right on time. We don't know why, but He knows when to step in, and when He intervenes, His power is unprecedented. There's no getting by it, around it. There's nothing that can stop it, that can stumble it. It's He definitely He can pretty much obviously do anything He needs to. And I'm just thankful. I told my wife I'm thankful for another chance, and the Lord has reasons why He helps us and why He doesn't, when He doesn't, when He doesn't. But I've just learned that as long as we trust Him and put our faith in Him, that's what it is. That's where we need to be. And I definitely have a pretty good scar and a nice 12-inch reminder that the Lord saved me, gave me a second chance. And yeah, and that I look down at it, it just makes me so much more thankful every day that he does come in and help when it's needed, and he has a perfect plan, and that just reminds me of that daily. So I wanted to thank all you guys for the prayer and the help that you guys gave us, the money that you helped pay our bills. I haven't been in work, so it was like the food, the diapers, everything. It just meant so much. And I thank God for giving us people in our lives and sending people like you.
I was impressed with that.
Thank you so much. You guys were
Such a small church, you guys made such a big difference.
You guys helped us so
Really?
much.
Oh,
So thank you. My mom got this, received it in the mail from a girlfriend, and or she dropped it off. And the book my mom got was stuck. The pages were literally, she said, glued together in this one spot. It was really weird. It was like a defect. She couldn't get the pages apart. They kept opening, like stuck to this page. 48, 49. And I said, "Are you joking?" And she said, "No, son. I want you to read 49. That's the page that it opened up to." And this is right after the accident. And it just said, she said, "I really felt like it meant something for you." It says, "Thank me for the conditions that are requiring you to be still. Do not spoil these quiet hours by wishing them away, waiting impatiently to be active again. Some of the greatest works in my kingdom have been done from sick beds and prison cells. Instead of resenting the limitations of a weakened body, search for my way in the midst of these very circumstances. Limitations can be liberated when your strongest desires live in close to me. Quietness and trust enhance your awareness of my presence with you. Do not despite these simple ways of serving me. Although you feel cut off from the activity of the world, your quiet trust makes a powerful statement in spiritual realms. My strength and power show themselves most effective in weakness." And I was just like, really? That was open. So, real quick, I said, "What was open to both of us? Did you look at the other page?" She goes, "No, she really had." Page 48, and I said, "Well, I wonder what that one says. It opens right to the center. Let's check both pages." This one actually broke me down. I mean, I lost it when I read this, but I read the other page, and real quick, it's from Luke 1:37, Ephesians 3:20-21, and Psalm 23, 1-4, and it says, again, both these, and this is all different stuff, but both of these seem to say, "Come to me with all your weaknesses, physical, emotional, and spiritual. Rest in the comfort of my presence, remembering that nothing is impossible with me. Pry your mind away from your problems so you can focus your attention on me. Recall that I am able to do immeasurably more than all you ask or imagine. Instead of trying to direct me to do this and that, seek to attune yourself to what I'm already doing. When anxiety attempts to wedge its way into your thoughts, remind yourself that I am your shepherd. The bottom line is that I am taking care of you. Therefore, you needn't be afraid of anything. Remember that trying to maintain control over your life, rather than trying to maintain control over your life, abandon yourself to my will. Though this may feel frightening and even dangerous, the safest place is to be in my will." And I was just thinking, wow, that was unbelievable when my mom said that.
Now that it's been a few weeks and you've been laying low, what do you think the Lord's been saying to you?
You know, I really just feel like he's been saying, "Trust me, have faith." You know, I've Uncle Barry been raised in a Christian home my whole life, from Faith Chapel on up, but you know, haven't always walked close. Put a lot of faith, been too busy worried about business or making money and raising a family, and I feel like he just pulled me out and gave me a star, if you will, to remind myself daily that this is my power, this is what I do for you, this is how much I love you. I have you in my arms just like you guys, every one of these people. Try living for me a little more. The other thing I've learned that I was thinking about when they said is the Lord never gives us more than we can handle. You know, that's the other thing. He really doesn't. My wife, it was so miraculous that she didn't get thrown out of the car, or come out, or get broke up, or get smashed into me, or go through the window, or go. He had his hand on her so strong. I mean, I know the Lord knew that we had a little one, the new ones. She's breastfeeding. He kept her so protected in that car, and how she was not belted and didn't fly out, or she walked away, not even whiplash from almost 100 mile an hour wreck into a tree, rolled onto an embankment. It was unbelievable. And I would have.
She was checked out of the hospital, but she didn't spend.
They did an MRI. They couldn't believe it. They looked her over, MRIs, CAT scan, because of the impact, and they said, "You're flawless." They couldn't believe it. They could not believe she was untouched. But unbelievable.
Well, you mentioned that the Lord doesn't give you anything that you can't handle, and the other part of that is you can't handle without Him.
That's right.
A lot of things happen to us, huh? But there's nothing that will happen to us today or in the future that without His help that we can't handle with Him. Josh, thank you for sharing your story. You and your family have a new way of celebrating the power of Jesus today.